Are your applications ready for Black Friday? Have you seen Angie Jones' new Java course? And what's a year in a life like for a site reliability engineer? Find out in this episode of the Automation and DevSecOps news show for the week of November 14th. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. This episode of the Test Guild News Show is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. Applitools is a visual AI validation testing platform that's a must-have for any automation project, so don't miss out on their free account offer now by clicking on the link in the first comment down below. And while you're there, why not leave a comment, and share with your friends, subscribe, and get alerted every time we release a new episode. First up, automation news. Serenity 3.41 is now out. What's it include? Let's check it out. I've seen this many times before. Serenity was my go-to automation framework when I worked full-time as an automation engineer. And one of the reasons why is they're constantly adding on to it, making it better. Also, John Ferguson's Smart is a go-to resource. I don't know if you could see this, but this book, if you're doing BDD, if you have any problems with BDD, if you hear people bad-mouthing BDD, it's because they're not doing it right and they haven't read this book. So just a side note, check out this book. I see how I have it all dog-eared all over the place. Must-get book as well. And shows you how to do automation correctly with BDD and really good insight into Serenity if you haven't seen Serenity yet. But back to my main point, this release of Serenity includes Selenium 4.60 integration. It also has improved reporting for data-driven tests. The reporting features in Serenity is off the hook as well. It has some standardized naming changes as well, and some other new features. So if you haven't checked out Serenity yet, highly recommend you do, and you can find that in the first comment down below. So the holidays are right around the corner, especially Black Friday is coming. So is your site ready? If not, here's a resource you should definitely check out that can help you be ready and prepared for these type of events. So this webinar is going to go over some ways you can actually leverage Applitools eyes to help you scan, validate, and protect your application for performance issues or things that could occur, especially from a user perspective during the holiday season like Black Friday. So you're going to learn challenges of testing e-commerce apps. You're going to discover why visual AI allows retail business to test faster, how Applitools Eyes is perfectly built for dynamic e-commerce websites, a live demo, and a bunch more. So highly recommend you register for that. And be ready, because like I said, you want to be featured on an episode like News of the Damned for Perf Bytes. So definitely, here's a resource you should check out and hope to see you there. Want a Playwright TypeScript template? If so, got one that you definitely should check out. This is by Akshay, and he just released version 0.22 of his Playwright TypeScript template. And the latest release includes best practices suggested by Playwright for selector locators that you definitely should give a look. And Akshay has some links to Playwright best practices. So this is a boilerplate template for Playwright TypeScript framework for web UI, API, mobile emulation, database, and visual testing. It's a Docker image, Sonar Cube, and Lighthouse setup is also implemented. Really huge time saver that if you're doing anything with Playwright, and especially you want something to help you with TypeScript, this is a go-to resource. I think Akshay for that. All right, so this isn't necessarily a news item for automation. However, I know Java is probably the #1 language used for automation, and a lot of people struggle with learning Java. And it's a resource by Angie Jones, who's an automation expert, a developer expert. Miss Angie in this space, but she has a course on hands-on Java that if you're struggling with automation and Java development, you definitely need to check this out. And like always, Angie does hands-on sessions. So this is a hands-on introduction to Java, and it uses GitHub Codespaces, which is now free for 60 hours. And you're going to work together to help build a project with Angie Jones guiding the way. And if you check out the course, you'll see everything that's covered. So thank you, Angie, for this and all the awesomeness you contribute to both testing, automation, and development. Lambdatest just made an announcement for automation testing offerings for testing OTT streaming devices. What's it all about? Let's check out this announcement. So what's included in this offering is Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku TV. So it's focusing on cloud-based automation testing around OTT streaming devices that are becoming more and more popular. And it also includes advanced features like parallel testing, remote control management, Appium integration, localization testing, easy debugging, So enterprises can really go through testing their digital offerings in a thorough way. And one of the co-founders and head of product of Lambdatest talks about why OTT streaming devices are so important and why you need to be ahead of the curve to start testing them and why this solution can help you with that. So another great offering by Lambdatest. And if you're doing anything with OTT streaming devices that you need to test and you're looking for a solution, this may be one that's perfect for you and your team. And you can find it in the first comments down below. Next up, performance and site reliability news. So this is by Stephen Townsend, and he talks about how he transitioned from a performance engineer to SRE over a year ago and some of his key learnings. So let's see what it's all about. So in this article, he takes some time to reflect on what he's learned so far from his year, making that transition from a performance engineer to an SRE. He goes over what are some of the impediments to implementing SRE in an organization and what questions he has yet to answer, and also goes over some technologies and tools that worked for him. If you're making or thinking of making the transition to an SRE or want to know more what SREs do, here's a must-read resource for you. And thank you, Stephen, as always, for sharing your learnings over the years. Appreciate it. So speaking of site reliability engineering, a lot of times I think of cloud and containerization. So this next article is a money segment. It's how CloudTruth raises $2.4 million to help DevOps teams manage cloud configurations. So CloudTruth, a Boston-based DevOps platform company, has raised $2.4 million in seed-round funding. And what's interesting here is it says that the global DevSecOps market will reach $23.4 billion by 2028, and the rising need for repeatable, adaptable processes and custom code security are key factors driving industry demand. The DevSecOps team struggle managing secrets and uniform configuration schemas for cloud and application resources, and configuration complexity causes outages, security flaws, and decreased team velocity. I've never heard of CloudTruth before, but if you have, let me know your thoughts on it, and you can find out more about them in the first comment down below. Next up, security and security testing news. So this next resource is Hacking the Cloud: Encyclopedia of Attacks, Tactics, and Techniques that Offensive Security Professionals can use for the next cloud exploitation adventure. And it's by our good friend Umesh. So thank you, Umesh, for posting this. It's a repo that includes all this information. And this Hacking the Cloud site goes over AWS, Azure, GCP, Terraform, and has a lot of information on types of techniques and attacks and exploitations and how to avoid detection and all of the things that you need to know about for hacking the cloud. So thank you, Umesh, once again for this resource. And finally, Wallarm released its Q3 API ThreatStats report, which reveals DevOps tools and infrastructure currently under attack that you need to know about. So the latest research shows that API risk remains high, with 57% of all Q3 API vulnerabilities rated high to critical. And this report provides a deep analysis into all published API vulnerabilities and exploits for the quarter. And there are three key findings they point out that could be really costly to your organizations. The first one is infrastructure. The second one is injections. And the third one is exploits. So another great resource you should definitely check out as well. For links of everything of value we covered in this news episode, head on over to the links in the first comment down below. And while you're there, make sure to check out our awesome sponsor, Applitools, free account offer, and discover how to take your automation testing to the next level, leveraging visual AI. So that's it for this episode of the Test Guild News Show. I'm Joe. My mission is to help you succeed at creating end-to-end full-stack pipeline automation, DevSecOps automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.